reminded myself. But the reason I want to ask that is because there's so many mixed things that starts to happen. We were talking about this in a little bit upper level leadership. And oh man, we got Desiree on. I see you.
Hi.
New coach in the house. What's up, girl? Nice to see you on. I'm glad you made it on. So I just want to let everybody know, like, so when we start out a client, right, or a pre-client, we have a checklist. Does everybody know where the checklist is at? And for some of you that are brand new, don't panic. Your coaches are probably working with you, but there's really a support system here. A lot of times we get confused with what does it look like to support a client, and then we try to reinvent the wheel a little bit, or we kind of just wing it. And I'm gonna be honest with you, a lot of us veteran coaches or mentors or whatever you want to call them, people have been around a while, really understand that from when you start a client out, from hello, let's do a health assessment, right? All these little steps are crucial because as they become coaches or you integrate them in, if you wave that a different direction, you're going to spend 6 or 8 months down the line reinventing everything that they've done and trying to put it back into alignment. And that becomes a managing business, and that's not a growth business. And so that's all I'm saying is, from when you start out a client and you're saying, okay, let's get on a health assessment, and then you welcome them in or you invite them to the program, right? There's a couple steps. One is either you put them into better health because they're not currently ready yet, but let's just say you welcome them into journey to health because now they are ready. And so there's 3 messages we send off to them, right? I know the shipping is kind of getting back to normal, but usually within the next 3 to 5 business days, you're sending them off, okay, your program's been ordered, please fill this out. Then your program will be arriving soon. Here's some information, right? And then you kind of go through these steps. Then when a client starts, you want to send them the video. So first off, I usually check in with them and say, hey, did you receive your program today? Yes, it's at home, I'm at work, or yeah, I got it yesterday, I'm going to start on Monday, whatever their process is. I would encourage them to start the next day. You don't have to make it a super big push, but remember, people need us as community. They need a structure, and they'll push anything off to when they'll push anything off. And Monday could turn into 2 weeks, right? And now it's messing your orders up. That's just real. And they'll start to see that going through their system. So I always encourage them, well, hey, let's start tomorrow. It may be a little bit of a hiccup along the way, but let's get going tomorrow. And you send them the night before startup video. Me personally, I check back in with them, say, hey, I sent you that video, or did you get a chance to see it? Oh, no, I've been busy. Okay. I asked them, hey, let's check out that video. Let's go through that real quick and then text me when you're done. So this shortens up your time. You're not on the call going through 15 or 30 minutes describing what food is, because that's what a lot of people come into this as a diet. And then they're just, all they see is food. And you're trying to tell them, oh, there's hacks and posting here, and it just becomes a food issue. So for me, I always make sure they watch the video, they integrate themselves in. Then moving forward, you have the first 8-day text messages. You have the first 1 through 4 check-ins. Now, guys, these check-ins should be 5 to 10 minutes. And there needs to be a posturing in there. And I always posture it out with, hey, I'm really excited to get on with you right now. I'm doing my client check-ins real quick. I just wanted to make sure I got you in because you're new. And there's importance to this. I got you in because you're new, and I want to make sure we're getting your first 4-day check-ins in. We're just going to shoot through your day. So kind of share with me what your day looks like. You don't have to tell me the exact foods, but did we start within the first hour getting up, and how are we doing with our water? So how's it going? And then let them explain it, right? The reason you want to posture that, hey, I'm just doing a check-in with you, you're new, is because you want to make sure that you're not on the phone talking about the food again for 30 minutes, right? This should be a 5 to 10 minute check-in. You're a guider. We're not here to be the top chef, and we're not here to be the hero coach either, which is very important, guys, because as you grow your business and you get into 5, 10, 15, 20 clients, and you're starting 3 to 5 new clients, and those just happen to revolve around the same time frame, right? You don't want to be spending 3, 4, 5, 6 hours on 5 clients. It should be like 3, 4, 5, 6 hours, including all your actions and your client check-ins and your postings and everything else, right? So it's really important to set that guideline right out the gate. So, hey, we're going through day 1 through 4. Okay, awesome. You're doing great. I'm really excited for you. Just shoot me a text tomorrow on day 5, just letting me know your energy's good and everything's going the way we thought it would. If something's off, we can definitely hop back on. But other than that, I'm going to kind of leave you alone and let you do your thing all the way until day 8. Then we're going to check in and celebrate, right? So those are crucial steps. Then we have our 1 week celebration call. Now, going back to the startup call, I always posture, hey, I'm super excited for you. We're going to celebrate you on your 1 week. So Tuesday is your 8th day. We'll weigh in. What does Wednesday or Thursday look like for you? So we can schedule our celebration, our tips call now. So that way, when day 8 hits, that next day or so, you already have them scheduled for the celebration call and with your mentor, and you're kind of moving that forward, and then you're going from there, right? Because all the time it becomes like this gets scrambled, and then you have maybe 3 or 4 people that are doing their 8th day, and then you're trying to put these in your books, and we're all unorganized, and then it's the weekend, and then you guys have a party you forgot about or whatever. It really just starts to keep it simplistic if we schedule this stuff out. Meanwhile, all this stuff you're doing is building a coach. You don't know when they're going to coach. You don't know if they're going to be a coach. Most people become a coach, just be honest with you. I don't think not one. I got 2 people in my 8.5 years that have not been a coach yet. One's my mom, God help her, and 2 is a buddy of mine. And hopefully we'll see what happens, right? It's still early. So, but that being said, is you're posturing and building this. So if you're getting on and doing 30-minute calls with these guys, and then you're like, oh my God, you'd be amazing as a coach, and this person has a career or has kids or whatever, it's like, oh, I could never do what you do because of timing. So this isn't just for me to say, brush these clients off. This isn't for me to just say they're a number. This is a strategic plan going through step by step. So there is a client checklist to pre-client to client. It's in coaching, or excuse me, growing to senior coach, all the way down at the bottom of the files tabs. It says new coach checklist and new client checklist. So those are in there. There is a video on how to do a celebration call for some of you newer coaches. Your business coach or mentor should be doing these calls for you, but you probably want to have that out while they're doing the celebration call, because guess who you're going to become? Hopefully soon. You're going to become a mentor or a business coach, right? So all these trainings are in a process. Then we go to our month 1 celebration call, or month 2 celebration call, or month 3. Don't fade out with that stuff with those guys. That's really crucial to make sure that we're doing that with those people. So that being said, does anybody have any questions so far about what I said? I tried to talk slower than I normally talk. So hopefully that was helpful. Everybody good on that so far? Okay, cool. Moving on to what a coach candidate looks like. You almost want to make sure that you're integrating them into the Monday night calls, right? Because they speak on that. You're also, if there's any hesitation or there's any waiting when somebody's mentioning, oh yeah, I was thinking about coaching, but I want to get through the first week. That's great, but move them to a Coach Explorer call right away, so they know everything that there is out on the table to decide before they decide for themselves. It's almost like when you tell somebody about this program, right, through a short little message, but then you fail to get them to a health assessment. Until they know the health assessment, and we're not just some diet, here's a website, try a sample, here's a product, oh, we just got this new line of BCAAs out or something. The thing is they're not going to know what they don't know. And it's always about preparing them to move it forward, because every step we do, if you're doing that with them, they're going to do that with their team. They're going to do that with their clients. So this all is revolving around these action steps. And at the end of the day, coaching is the next step for these guys. For you newer coaches, it is the next step. I got a personal friend right now going through a lot of stuff, and I posted that I'm looking for 7 dads to look to get their dad bod, or looking to get rid of their dad bod. And I had one friend reach out to me. She says, hey, as soon as he's done with what he's going through, it's a recovery, I'd like him to get back on the program. And I said, absolutely. And I said, honestly, part of our program is like a 12-step. So the community of coaching would be amazing for him. And I think that should be his next step. It's the same thing with food, guys. There's no difference between food and alcohol. Some people just don't see it that way because alcohol doesn't make you like loopy, or you can't drive your car, but it can mess with your body just as much. That's what diabetes is. That's what pain medications are for. That's what migraines are. Migraines are a mad fluctuation in sodium and sugar. So it's not much different. So just be in your mindset of coaching is that next step. you're talking to them. It's almost like when you say, I am IPD, I am global director, I will be executive director, I'm going to, it's the same thing with this. It's putting it into their will, because most people can't do this on their own. They just can't. That's why they join us, they join a community, and we try to move them forward. So that being said, that's kind of all I wanted to cover today. How's everybody doing overall with anything? Does anybody have any questions they want to go over or anything of that nature?
I just have a few things to encourage everyone.
Sure.
If that's okay, Justin. So
Yeah,
one of the things that we encourage our team to do when I do these celebration calls with them, I always make sure that I bring like all my energy possible. For those of you guys that have done celebration calls with me, you guys know those are my favorite calls ever. I even bring my pom-poms and I celebrate people. Sounds a little bit crazy, but my team knows. And I always encourage them to stay on after I come off. So I get on, I ask the questions, I celebrate them, and I always encourage our coaches to stay on and just have that one-on-one connection with their clients and talk about that energy. Talk about the fact that, you know, Diana's been doing this for a little over a year and a half, and look how excited she is, look how passionate we all are about the system, about the program, about what we do and helping others, and just kind of invite them to join our community that way as they're feeling that energy and that hype. And then in terms of the health assessment, because a lot of people are still very insecure when it comes to the health assessment, and they feel like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to talk to people, I don't know what to say. I always just encourage our team to ask questions that are yes questions. Like, do you think you could refrain from exercise for the next month or whatever it is? Yes, yeah, no problem. Do you think you could drink 64 ounces of water daily? Yeah, that's no problem. Do you think you could eat 6 times a day? Yeah, definitely. So you're already having them go into that mindset of yes, and then having them like pop the question at the end. Do you think you're ready to start, or are you ready to start? And I always have our team talk to our clients or our potential clients as if they already said yes. We don't say when you do, if you decide to, let me know, because that's a big thing that I was doing when I first started. I wouldn't pop the question, and I would just assume, or I would say, okay, well, let me know. And I would like rush off the call. So now instead or I encourage our team to really pop the question at the end, invite them, but talk to them as if they already said yes, because we already know that it's never a no, it's a not yet. So we always talk to them as if they said yes already. So just a couple of tips that we share with our team, who, by the way, they are doing amazing. So super proud of you guys. Whoop, whoop.
No, those are all great points, and I appreciate that. And one thing I will bring up, and I'm glad you said it the way you said it, because it reminded me. Am I freezing? Yeah, gotta love, even though my computer is hardwired into the internet, is what it is. I talk too much. But that being said, is guys, do yourselves a favor too for your clients. Remember what I said about empowering people instead of enabling people? I was on a call a while back. Your clients, encourage them to post in the client page. Don't post for them. Don't rah-rah them. To be honest with you, that's for them to learn to grow out of their comfort zone. Because the first thing we learn is if we don't tell anybody and we fail, then technically we didn't fail. So when we're trying to empower people, you want to have them post their first week. I always encourage, and this is where if we're not good at this, this is another reason why our client celebration calls are amazing, is because your coach is going to say, oh my God, did you post your success yet? Oh, I'm not really a poster. Or, well, hey, this is a group. Well, I really like looking at everybody else's feed and posting and watch their posting and say, well, great. So maybe you could go in there and inspire somebody as well. Right? So there's always that key thing of making sure that you're encouraging them. And if they don't do it, don't post for them. It's okay. I know coaches do it, and I'm telling you guys, because you're my direct team and there's a couple other teams in there, but rah-rahing somebody, oh, Susie's down 13 pounds this week. Yeah, everybody show her some love. That just allows her to stay in her hole. Just going to be honest with you. And until we can empower them to get out, and guess what? Leading to coaching. If they're afraid to post in there, when you ask them to go post on their timeline or talk to somebody, guess what's going to happen? So there's all these little things. It's like I said, it's the 12-step process. We're not just telling you to do things. It's like when we ask a coach to get on and share their story, or we have these Wednesday breakfasts and we lead with our story, or we do these trainings and we pick particular people to lead with their story. Why do they keep asking them to lead with their story? Because most people don't know how to lead with their story. We start talking at people instead of just sharing our story. So there's all these little tidbits that are going to add up to this stuff. So that's another thing too, is please empower them to post in the group, because that's just going to help them move forward. The other thing too is make sure that you're keeping your mentor up to date with where they're at, where their mindset is. One thing I will tell you too is, for you newer coaches, as you're getting into this, and I know some of us are not the greatest with technology. I know, God knows I wasn't, and pray for Jamil for, yeah, it's all good, man. Praying for Jamil to help me. I didn't know how to use emails. Luckily we didn't have Zoom back then, because probably Jamil would have fired my ass. I'm just gonna be honest with you. So, but that being said, is make sure I know you guys are coming into these calls kind of excited, but do yourselves a favor. Keys to success on these: make sure that you text your mentor about 10 minutes before. Let them know, one, hey, the call's still on, or whatever. Send them the link, and if there is a password, I know Facebook's weird nowadays, make sure you give that to them, because if somebody's doing back-to-back calls and we're just kind of, doing calls here and there, that's always helpful for them. The second thing too is you come on, this person's entrusting you, you're their coach, and they may not necessarily know your coach. So you want to edify your coach a little bit. Hey, this is Diana Schofield, excuse me. She's been rocking out this program. She's been doing this a lot longer than I have. She's helped hundreds of people be successful. She's actually working with a lot of coaches as far as teaching them the process to help and support people as well. So I'm really excited, because she'll give us some golden nuggets, and I wanted you guys to meet. So Diana, this is Susie Joe. She's rocking out the program. I'll let her share her story. That's literally your job, because what happens is, oh, she's my mother's sister's daughter's friend, and we hung out back in the day, and then it just starts taking air out of their sail, right? Or she's down 13 pounds, but I'll let you figure it out, or I'll let you explain it. Just, this is Susie Joe. I'm really excited for her. She's been crushing her first week. I'll let her explain it. Give them that power, give them that opportunity, because why? If they're sharing their story with you on week 1 and they start to become a coach, what are they gonna do? They're gonna share their story. So I hope all this is making sense. Do you see how this all revolves back to every single thing we do is preparing them to be a better person, is preparing them to be a good coach, is preparing them to have those mind shifts, is empowering them instead of taking air out of their sail. Because I've had coaches come on, if we can even get the link in time, and then I'm scrambling for it personally. And then we get on and it's like, oh my God, this is Susie Joe. I went to high school with her back in the day. She's down 9 pounds. She's just crushing it. She's had better energy. She's sleeping great, but I'm going to let her go ahead and share her stuff. And then you're kind of like, so how's your day going? She's got nothing to say, right? It's so important, because this is empowering them. So please do your mentors a favor in that. And the second thing too, is it's not about you. And I'm not saying anybody on this call doesn't do that. Don't wink at me if you do, but mute yourself and just let the coach run the call. Because when it gets back and forth to this or that or that or this, it takes this wind out of their sail. It really does. This is a moment about them. I know you're trying to help, but just let the coach run the call. It's very important to do that, because if they don't end up saying something, that's okay. There's always next week. There's always something else. Or there's some tidbits. This is where you text your coach 10 minutes before saying, hey, Susie Joe's getting on. I did drip coaching on her. She's a little timid. I asked her to post her first week. She didn't want to do it. Prep your coach so you can have them kind of pull it out of you in the third party context, instead of you coming in. Oh, but one more thing. I just want Susie Joe, talk about this, right? Because then it comes a defense for them. That's just how it is. I don't know why it is. I'm not a therapist, but that's just the magic of these 3-way calls. So if you prep your coach ahead of time and just say, these are the things that I think would be good to cover, great. And then roll it out from there. Usually if your coach is pretty seasoned, that'll all come out anyways. Like, it's almost like you're in trouble with your grandma and you just can't hold back lying. All right, on day 3, I had cheesecake and I really didn't want to tell Luann, but you know what, I had to do it because Aunt Edna came over and you can't not, right? That's another thing too, is they start sharing things that are a struggle for them. That's just inevitable too. That's just how the through bay calls go. So just remember that these aren't celebration calls where it's the day 8 and you did a check-in with them, and that's considered a celebration call. That's a check-in. That's their first week check-in. A celebration call is 3 people, you, your mentor, and them. The other thing too is make sure your mentor is not on waiting, right? Make sure that they're on first with you. And if there's technical challenges, let the coach know, hey, we're having a struggle getting on. We'll let you know when we're on. These are all important things, guys. It's just the way the approach of the call is. It's really important for us to do that. So that's probably enough about the client stuff. I'll go back to the question. Do you guys have any questions or struggles that people are going on with? And please don't feel like this is a judgment page. If you have a question and you feel like it's a dumb question, please ask it, because any question that's not asked is a dumb question. So this is a warm area. Ask away. We can help out in any way. And maybe you don't, but don't feel like you have. Yes, go ahead, Veronica.
I have a question.
Sure.
All right, so is the reason for having the client get on the call before you let the coach into the room, the purpose for that is so that it appears as though there's no conversation about the client beforehand, you know, like
Well,
it's
you don't want to have them repeat what they're saying, number one. Number two, you definitely don't want, which I've had, the mentor in there, and it's kind of this awkward, like you're stare down. They don't know who you are. You're trying to introduce yourselves. And then the coach gets in and it's like, oh my God, Diana, sorry, I'm so late. Hey, so this is Susie. And we're already like 4 or 5 minutes in, right? It's just, it's not appropriate. If you're going to be late, that's okay. Just let them know you're going to be late, and then you guys can be on late together, right? It's not a bad thing. We allow 30 minutes, but it's just the cadence of the call. There's no Justin saying it. It's not my rule. It's just how the flow of the call is best served. And that's just to say, hey, I'll let you know when they're on. These are a little bit of the stats of this client or potential coach, whatever kind of call it would be, any throughway call. Then you get on, you introduce, you mute yourself, and you kind of run it that way. But yeah, it's always better when the client and the personal coach of that client is on first, and then the mentor comes in. Because you're trying, and let's just be real, say that how it is too. You're trying to edify your coach, because they're entrusting you. Going back to that, they're entrusting you, and it's like, oh, this is Justin. They have no clue who I am, but I've had kind of good success in this program. So you're trying to make that edification there so they can feel comfortable, and then say, okay, maybe these are some things I should probably share. And it's just how it rolls out. So that's really how it's about. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right, cool. Thank you.
I don't know if I was freezing on that. I kept saying my internet was bad, but maybe I made some good faces for you guys. I don't know.
You're good.
Cool. So awesome. Any other questions? No? Well, good stuff.
I have a comment to that, because I'm still a hot mess, you guys. My team knows this, my clients know this. Sometimes when we get on these calls, and this used to be me, so maybe these, you know, what I say speaks to you. I used to get on these calls and they would go over like the client check-in and like all of these things that we should be doing. And I would sit here and be like, oh my gosh, I'm not doing that. Oh my gosh, I did not do that. Oh my gosh, I didn't do that for that client. And I used to sit here on the other side and kind of beat myself up for it. And I just want to tell you, you do not have to be perfect at all. By any means, trust me, I am not perfect. If there's a client that you dropped the ball on though, and you didn't do the week 1 celebration call, you're at a month and you still haven't gotten them on the call, that's okay. Do it now. Don't just say, oh, well, forget it. I'll do it with the next client. Just do it anyways. Let them know, hey, you know what? I'm still learning. I'm still going through the process. I really am excited for you. I want to get you on this call so we can celebrate you properly, and let them know that you are human. You make mistakes. They will appreciate that 1000%, that you are human, and they'll see, oh my gosh, maybe I can do this. Maybe I don't have to be this perfect person with all this time to be a coach. So it really has made a big difference for me to just acknowledge that and just be 100% with them and just keep it real. So.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Yeah, if you have somebody right now that's on week 2, 3, 4, 5, and you haven't got to them yet, it's still okay to circle back. Not a big deal. So that's a total thing. We don't want to act like we're up here on a pedestal. We're just a little bit further along in our journey. So when they see us kind of being a hot mess, like Diana said, you can definitely, they can relate to that, because if you feel like you have to put yourself in this spotlight, they're definitely not going to think they could coach. So that's something that's important. So one last run through for some people that just hopped on. The client checklist should be printed out and pinned to the back of your health assessments. Those are in the Growing to Senior Coach group in the Files tab down at the bottom. And just make sure you click on the link, you download those, and I would have those with each client behind their health assessment so you know exactly where you're at with them and what they're doing. And then obviously the coach checklist is there as well. You'll just piggyback that off the back once you're moving them into that category if that's where that client ends up going. So good stuff. Thank you, Diana, for chiming in, because those are some things I didn't even think to cover. So that worked out great. Any final questions? We're pretty much up at the half hour. Yes, go ahead, Karen.
I have a client that is, she's only been on it for a week and she's already cheating and all of that. Any tips for kind of how to keep her on track?
Yep. First week client celebration call. Bring on Beverly or myself to kind of go through her with that. And there'll probably be some little tricks of the trade. Say, hey, this is a client tip celebration call. You know, this is a journey. This isn't a diet. So we don't really call it cheating. I would just say, hey, we're modifying the program quite a bit, but I know it can be a struggle sometimes because this is our first week. Why don't we get on a tips and celebration call? We usually do that at your first week and see what my coach can kind of help us with, maybe to get on track. And speaking freely after that part, the client at the end of the day is going to probably do what they want to do. So at that point, you can do kind of what we do as an off the hook, like, hey, you know what? And this is where we have to go from the scarcity mindset to the entrepreneurial mindset. Hey, this program just might not be a fit for you right now. Maybe we thought it was, but you know, let me know when I can help you move forward. And you kind of let them off the hook, because that does a couple of things. One, that doesn't have somebody running around let's just say it, half-assed in the program. And then they refer you somebody, and then that person comes on and wants to do it the way they're doing. Oh, she told me she drinks every weekend. It's totally fine. I just want to lose 5 pounds anyways. No big deal. We don't want that. So, you know, going from that scarcity mindset of, oh, I really need this client, Justin, you don't understand, to, hey, I'm just going to go find 3 more that maybe really want this, and we'll just let them go when they go. But the first step, Karen, to answer your question, is going back to that first week celebration call. And you can also, day 3, 4, or 5, guys, there's also struggling client calls. Week 2 can be a struggling client call. You don't have to name it for them, but you can tell your coach, like, hey, this client's kind of going off the bandwagon and I just kind of need some extra support. Would you mind hopping in and maybe seeing if there's something we can do with that as well? But since she's kind of right around her first week, Karen, you could probably just say, hey, let's just do a tips and client celebration call. Let's kind of celebrate you where you're at, and can kind of go from there.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Of course. Yep. So, and that's good. And that goes back to why it's important to edify your coach, because you're bringing the guru on to help improve their program as well. So it kind of just circles around. Cool, man. All great questions. Anybody else got anything?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Or asking for advice on how to get clients. Like, would you recommend Facebook or us joining like a small group or in person?
I mean, it's honestly, I think you guys are under Don and Roy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So honestly, what I would do, we talked about this the other day on one of the trainings, the ED trainings on Saturdays, is get into your contacts and just start connecting with people in your contacts right away. That's going to be your immediate go-to, because if you have their phone number, you've kind of gotten past that social media barrier of somebody not really knowing you. And you just want to go out. There's a connections process, and I'll talk to Roy and Don about getting it to you, but it's literally verbiage of this. We don't want to make a chubbies list, right? That's the first thing we do when we become a coach for some reason, is we want a chubbies list. You just want to make a list. Your left-handed list is, and this is good for everybody to understand, your left-handed list is anybody and everybody. Doesn't matter if they're skinny, heavy, fit, personal trainer, teacher, doesn't matter. The left-handed list is literally, hey, Susie Joe, I don't know if you knew this or not. I'm really excited about stuff that's been going on in my life. You got a minute? I just wanted to share something with you. You may know people. This is a key word, and there's actual verbiage for this, so don't feel like you have to write it down. You may know people that I don't. So this isn't like, hey, Susie Joe, I think you should do this program because you're gaining 20 pounds. This is, you may know people that I don't. So this touches on thin people, fit people, heavy people, doesn't matter. I'd like to have you connect me with somebody that maybe comes to mind as I'm sharing with you this program. I'm going to actually put you in a group. It's called Better Health. I'm going to tag you once you accept. I'm going to tag you on a video. And if anybody comes to mind, I'm going to actually follow up with you in about 48 hours. And I'd love for you to connect us. So would you mind doing that for me? Okay, great. Thanks so much. And you move on to the next person. So back in the day, we called it a collecting yes, because it was 5 questions. It would be, hey, Susie, you got a minute? Yes. You want to hear something exciting? Yes. You share your story. Can you do me a favor? Yes. Right? So that's how we used to do it back in the day. It's still the same idea, but I would start out with your list of everybody out of your phone. And even if it's friends from maybe your high school alumni, you want to start friending them now and messaging those guys. Whatever's the closest step to you moving it to the phone is really where it's at. But run all those people down on your left-handed list. And those are just connections. You may know people that I don't. If that's the only thing you can remember me saying is, you know people that I don't. That's how you want to approach it. You share your story. Hey, I'm down so-and-so pounds. My husband's down so-and-so pounds. I'm super excited, have better energy. I'm sleeping better, mind clarity. And I'm just so excited. I decided to pay it forward. So maybe you know people that could benefit. That's where you put them in the group, and then you do the 48-hour follow-up process. And then from there, once you've exhausted that, because I'll be honest with you, there's so many coaches, we ask you for the first 10 people, and they're usually out of your phone book, or they're usually your immediate circle. And then I could go 2-3 years from now, and I could probably call anybody on this call right now, and they probably still haven't gone through their phone list. Just gonna be honest with you, because we stall out and we all of a sudden go back to our Facebook and think it's exciting. And that's where everything's at, because everybody's Facebook. But at the end of the day, you exhaust your phone numbers list, and I can guarantee you there's people in there. I'll go one step further to say this. I've been doing this 10 years. This freaks people out sometimes, but I'm gonna tell you anyways. For every 10 people you talk to, 1 will be interested or sign up right away. So if there's 140 people in your contacts, there's 14 clients sitting in there right now. That's how that works. That's usually statistics. So that's the math you got to figure out. So if you have 300 people in your contact list, that's 30 clients ready to go right now, right? So that's how I would break that down first. And meanwhile, while you're going through that list, you're doing 4 connections a day, which honestly, 5-6 minutes. Here's one extra step. I'll go a little bit further. One extra step is, and Kim taught me this back in the day, is you never want to go straight from a connections call to, oh my God, I'm looking for something. What is it? And then you spend 30 minutes going through a health assessment because you're super excited, right? A kid in a candy store, I got one health assessment right now. No, you don't do that. Why? Because you want to structure yourself to make sure you get through. If I dedicated 30 minutes to do 5 connections a day, if you get to that 3rd connection and you did a health assessment, your time's gone, right? Then day 2, maybe on the 2nd one, somebody asks you, oh my God, I'm interested. You only did 2 connections that day, and you got another health assessment. Then day 3, maybe you get to 4, and now you got a health assessment. But what I will tell you is, why not do all 5? You still schedule that health assessment, just not that day. Because guess what? In 3 days, you did 15 connections instead of 7. See how that works? You might get 1 more HA out of it. That's the point of doing all your connections, and it structures your time, and it gets you in a repetitive behavior of continuing your connections. So I hope that was helpful of what I said, but I would go through your list, write everybody down. Even if they're in your phone, some people it's like, oh, it's up here, or it's already in my phone, I don't need to do that. Put it on paper, check them off. You could even do little asterisks. I already talked to this person's in here, put next to their name, 48-hour follow-up. Go to the next person, check mark, already did a health assessment, or do a star. They're in the thing, 48-hour follow-up. However that works out for you, you could do that. If you're really good tech savvy, you could even do the notes in your phone, but I would write it down somewhere outside of your contact list so you can structure that connection, and that follow-up process will be easier.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. And then, like I said, that gives you time to move towards your messages on Facebook and building relationships with people, and going even into that further. Yeah, add yourself. One last thing, I keep saying one last thing, and I promise I'll stop after this. But don't add yourself to a diabetes weight loss group. Don't make that chubbies list on Facebook. You go to groups that you like. Like when my trailer broke this morning, I'm in a West Coast trailers group. I posted in there. Why? To engage with people. When I'm out in the boat, I go to River Whips and I post in the boating group. When I'm out off-roading, I go to Desert Whips and I'm posting in the group. Go to groups you have a common communication with, right? If you have different hobbies, if you have different dogs, if you have a certain kind of car. I even added myself to an Elantra group until I realized I'm probably the oldest dude in there. So backed out of that one because I don't need to put some crazy spoiler on the back of my car. But I add myself to things I have, right? So that way there's a common communication you can start with instead of, hey, Justin, I'm in 3 weight loss groups and in this one diabetic group. How do I start a conversation? This guy really needs me. He's like 500 pounds and we don't make a chubbies list. So what you can do is if you want to be in there, friend that person, pull them out of there and start a conversation based on, oh my God, where'd you get that Christmas tree? That looks amazing. I actually live up the street in Idaho over here, whatever the communication is. But if you put yourself in groups that you're confident and comfortable in, oh my God, that's amazing. You know, I used to ride horses when I was younger. Where'd you get that one at? Or I know Ellen and hubby like to do barbecue stuff on the weekends. That's one of his amazing hobbies he's got and a business. But the thing is that's a common ground. So get into like some Wagoneer groups or whatever that looks like. Some people like the older crowd, not sounding weird, but you like knitting or whatever, get into those groups. You know what I mean? Those are the things that you'll find the common communication with. So just don't make it like I'm a health coach, so I need to get into this personal trainer group or this weight loss group or whatever that is. Make it a common ground for you. And that way you can get traction a lot faster. You know what I mean? Like I saw one of you guys has a boxer. Is that a boxer, Karen, or a pit bull?
I have a lab and I don't know, I used to have a boxer, but no, I have a lab and another
Okay.
little bit. Yeah.
Well, there you go. Throw yourself. I know like one of the coaches, Trisha, who lives up the coast, she has 2 snickerdoodles or whatever the heck they're called. So she's in that group, right? There's whatever gets you in a group. I mean, it doesn't have to be reinventing the wheel and try to go after everybody who's needing to lose 500 pounds or on 27 medications, because we're not a weight loss company. Remember that too, right? So those are things I would work on. Anyways, I'm going to let you guys go. Thanks so much for being on. Hopefully this was helpful and we'll talk to you guys soon.